My name is Alberto Simeoni. With me, you have Mirna Vuletic. You should have today, as a start, the greetings of our director standards. She's unfortunately sick. Yesterday, she was able to come. And also from the person you can see here in the middle of this screen, Lorin Boom, Mirna and Lorin, they work with me and we provide the secretariat of the CENELEC technical boards. So technical boards, as you heard yesterday, are the decision-making bodies for CEN and CENELEC, and most of the decisions they take are pre-discussed in BT working groups, so in working groups of the technical boards. In particular, Mirna provides the secretariat of the CENELEC BT 128-3 BT efficiency, which is the body that is the advisory body for CENELEC BT. So all the discussion regarding new process and rules in CENELEC are pre-discussed in CENELEC BT working group 128-3. And Lorin is the secretary of CENELEC BT working group 14 rules and process. So this is a common group then for common rules and process. In the past, we used to have the CEN BT working group for CEN only rules and process, a kind of twin of the CENELEC BT working group 128-3 BT efficiency. That was suppressed during the simplification exercise 3 years ago, and de facto the CEN BT TCMG has replaced this task. For those of you, for the new ones, yesterday it was explained that we have 2 CEN BT meetings per year, 2 CEN BT TCMG. TCMG is a technical coordination management group for CEN, and is as, let's say, as the delegation from CEN BT to take decision. So basically, CEN BT can take decision either in CEN BT or via TCMG. And then we have normally 3 CENELEC BT meetings per year. Good morning. Where basically Mirna and of course myself and of course formally Cinzia Missiroli as director standard, so we provide the secretariat. For you to know, next week we'll fly to Vienna because we have a back-to-back meeting of BT working group rules and process and BT working group BT efficiency, CENELEC BT efficiency. Good. So this session is a recurrent session to go together through the main novelties in the process, rules and processes in the last 2 years. Basically, the new TBO training, so the meeting of yesterday is an annual meeting, while this meeting takes place every 2 years and is open, of course, not only to the new TBOs, but in particular to the veteran TBO, if I can use this expression. So now we will go through the main CEN and CENELEC decision, CEN only and CENELEC only. Of course, bear with us. If you're CENELEC, please bear with us when we present the CEN only novelties, and the same when we will go in CENELEC. Then from organizational point of view, the coffee break is foreseen at 10:40, lunch is foreseen at 11, and we foresee, sorry, at 1. 11 is the end of the coffee break. And if you look at the agenda, we foresee a Q&A session at the end of each session. I think it is more efficient after each item that we present to have open the discussion if you need any clarification or if you have any doubt. Okay, so we can start. You need to, as TBO, you need to be aware that in the last 2 years, we really spent a lot of time and resources on harmonized standards, which were considered and are still considered the priority for our system. The new TBOs you heard yesterday about the low compliance rate of harmonized standards with legislation, so during the assessment of the consultant. So this has become really #1 priority. So CENELEC BT Working Group 14, Rules and Process, together with the CENELEC BT Working Group 12 on harmonized standards, and of course, the CENELEC technical boards have spent a lot of resources in order to identify and implement measures to improve the citation of standards in the Official Journal, which means to increase the compliance of candidate harmonized standards with the standards request and the underlying legislation. So you today in this session, in this seminar, you will hear in the upcoming session contributing to the drafting of the standards request, all the measures that have been undertaken in order to ensure that the first piece of work when we have to deal with the European Commission is a document that is, I would say, feasible for CENELEC. So the standardization request, this is a Commission implementing act. So the standardization request is a legal act. It is issued by the Commission, and we have agreed with the Commission on how to cooperate in the drafting of this document. So we have the possibility, we as CENELEC, to influence this document, and you will hear in the next session from our colleagues how we do it and what is expected from you as STBO. And then there are a lot of new measures that we will apply during the development of the standard, of the candidate harmonized standard. We have developed together with the Commission a joint ISO European Commission checklist for the harmonized standards. So we have abandoned the CENELEC checklist and the Commission checklist and also the consultant checklist. And now we have only one. So this should help to find an agreement. Then we have set up a new service from CCMC, which is the quality check on the harmonized standards. And this is performed by our colleagues here at CCMC. Of course, you can imagine that we do not have a specific knowledge, technical knowledge. We don't have a specific knowledge of the legislation. Therefore, our support during the quality check will be most on horizontal and internal regulation part 3 related aspects, normative reference and other elements. The quality check then is also part of the new process for homegrown harmonized standards that has been launched in October for all those work items that were launched for approval as of 1st of October. So considering more or less 2 months for the approval. So this is the time in 1st of December that this work item could have been approved by the CEN-TC or CENELEC BT or CENELEC BTs. So basically, this is a brand new process that has been designed that should, again, I mean, with the aim to increase the likelihood of a compliant assessment for these standards. What will come very soon is a new process when we developed in parallel with ISO and IC under Frankfurt and Vienna Agreement, the candidate harmonized standards, because of course the same low compliance rate are there also for ISO and IC when we work in parallel with ISO and IC. So all these will be covered in detail by this session today, Improving Citation in the Official Journal of Harmonized Standards, which will be given by the heads of the new team in CCMC, that is the Harmonized Standards Compliance team. Then again, we spend also a lot of time and also resources, IT resources, in order to timely comply with the new regulation 22/2480 that was applicable as of 9 July 2023, amending regulation 1025, and for this specific session, it will be myself giving you an idea of the main changes. I want you to understand that even if harmonized standards count more or less for 20% of our production, yearly production, they take around 85% of our resources. So it's like the Pareto law. In order to deliver 20%, we spend 80% of our resources. I think it is even more than 20%. Most of these measures, so the checklist for the standard request, the checklist for the harmonized standards, the new service quality check, the innovative process, were discussed and agreed also with the European Commission in a task force that lasted 2 years. The ESOS, we call it ESOS, European Commission Task Force for Timely Standards for a Single and Global Market. Task force where I was the secretary, and again, this see the participation of our Director General and Vice President Technical and Policy. So more than 80% of our resources in order to make work again the all the work that we do for in order to respond to the Commission standard request. And of course, mandate, because the standard request is the concept that was introduced with the regulation 1025/2012, but we still have open, valid mandate. And of course, we need to produce and offer standards under those mandate. So the first measure that I will present here in this session is again a measure that we had to develop in order to support to facilitate the compliance of candidate harmonized standards to legislation, and is basically the possibility to update the normative reference in homegrown harmonized standards. So we have extended the fast-track procedure existing to update the Annex ZA or Annex ZZ in CENELEC, and via this decision, it is possible to update the normative reference in the test of the standards after the homegrown standards has been voted or published. This is the test. I hope this decision is well known for all of you. I hope you also you understand the purpose of the decision. So to be able, once the standard has been voted upon and published, so should remain untouched, but still after an assessment you need to update the normative reference. This is a fast-track procedure. You go to BT, so it's a BT approval. In CEN is a weighted vote. In CENELEC is the regular BT consultation, and in any case we need in CEN and also in CENELEC a TC agreement via a TC decision. So the technical committee has to take a decision where basically they agree that the normative reference are updated. And this escalate to CENBT or CENELEC BT that will approve this request. Because of course, any change to a standard that is already voted upon and published, then this must be approved by BT. The result is published as an amendment if the standard has already been made available. If the standard is not yet published, the results are incorporated into the text before publication. You will see the same text for CENELEC, and the only difference is that in CEN-BT will approve it via weighted vote. In CENELEC BT, this is via the regular BT consultation. I don't know if you are aware. Well, so we have different rules for CEN-BT and for CENELEC BT. The approval in the when we say the regular BT consultation means basically unanimity. So all CENELEC BT members do not disagree with the proposal, because in CENELEC, if only one BT member disagrees, then the proposal is put on hold. There is no approval, and then this must be a solution has to be found. While the CEN-BT regular consultation is simple majority, but still CEN-BT member have the veto right, so they can cast a deferred decision. So one CEN-BT member can block the approval of the decision. Of course, in both cases, if there is a weighted vote, then it is not possible to have this veto right, but the weighted vote, it means that the agreement and disagreement will be counted with the weights of each member. Then another decision that we apply from 1st July 2022 actually it has been the first delegation of power from CEN and CENELEC technical boards to the CEN and CENELEC JTCs. And now I look to my two colleagues of JTCs, where basically now you can decide within the JTC whether to accept an European organization as a liaison within the JTC. The CENELEC technical body officer may remind a similar decision in 2021, that of course was presented in the TBO seminar of 2021, which was the first case for CENELEC BT to delegate to a CENELEC technical committee the approval of the participation as observer of an organization as liaison in the CENELEC technical body. So here, you know that the entry point, we have a dedicated office under my responsibility for partners. So if there is any European-based organization that is interested to work in a JTC, will come first to CCMC. The email is partners@cenelec.eu. We will make a first assessment whether all the criteria in Guide 25 are met by this European organization, and then we will send an email to the secretary of the Joint Technical Committee asking to launch a draft decision via correspondence, via CIB or CIV, depending if the secretariat of the GTC is CEN, then CIB, or CENELEC, then would be a CIV. The participation is approved if by simple majority, so via CIB members will vote or CIV, and the simple majority, and the absence of sustained opposition against the applicant, which has to be provided in writing by the opposer. Here, things going quite well. We know that the JTC 21 and JTC 13 are so cybersecurity and artificial intelligence are the most attractive joint technical committees for European-based organization. And of course, we need to pay attention that these European organizations are really driven by European interest and not by different. I want just to draw your attention to the fact that you cannot approve the liaison in a meeting. So we had cases where the approval of the liaison was in the JTC or also CENELEC TS meeting. So please use only the approve these liaison via CIB or CIB only. And what also we expect, but the email from my colleague working on the functional email partners at CENELEC.eu is quite clear. We expect to receive exactly this format of the decision, but this is clearly attached in the email, so you shouldn't have problem to find it. And is also on BOSS. The template, this is a formatted decision, so the template is on BOSS. So BOSS is are the page that we send in CENELEC develop and keep update regarding technical operational matters. And also this is what we expect also to see, which is the CIB, in this case, result, so the official CIB result of the request. Of course, can be CIB result in case for those two JTCs that are under the CENELEC Secretariat. Sorry, the Secretariat of a CENELEC member. Okay, I can go ahead. Look at the JTC officers. Yes, all clear. I guess there is no particular surprise on this. Then a new guidance has been approved by CEN and CENELEC on how to deal with the implementation of EN at the national level. Some members discovered national cases where the EN was implemented at the national level with the addition of elements that could contradict or add requirements to the EN. So the CEN technical boards deemed important to develop a guidance. The main objective is not to encourage any national elements, no additional elements. Under the definition of additional national elements, you have the additional national information, so national forwards and national footnotes, which of course are accepted. Then national informative annexes, and here attention is to be paid. National normative annexes, and this is the main cause of problems, and so you will see what this decision aims to. And also the supplementary national deliverables, basically those national publications that that some members publish at the national level when they implement an EN. So here the main message from CENELEC is that additional national annexes are to be avoided. National forwards, national footnotes, national informative annexes, and supplementary national deliverables should not contradict or alter the provisions or add requirements to the European standard. Only the national normative annexes can add additional requirements, but there is a procedure in order to add these national normative annexes. So these national normative annexes can be present only if the EN, only if the European standard explicitly foresee the possibility to add normative annex at the national level. So basically, if the standards does not contain a specific paragraph saying that at the national level, national normative annexes can be added, this cannot be added. And the CEN and CENELEC technical boards went even beyond this, and in case the technical body when drafting the EN, foresee the possibility to have national normative annexes, this is subject to BT approval. So before going to formal vote, you should seek BT, the approval of BT, if the EN contains this clause, this kind of clause. So you understand that here the main goal is not to have national normative annex, because the national normative annex de facto will not trigger the identical implementation of the EN in 34 countries, and therefore is to be avoided. So the technical bodies, and you, of course, as TBOs, when you understand that on a specific topic there is a need to have some national specificities, please try to adapt the test of the standard in order to reflect this specificity already in the EN. If this is not possible, then there can be a specific clause opening the possibility for national normative annexes once the standards is published, but then you need to seek for BT approval. Since myself, Mirna, and also Lorin, we also meet every Wednesday for the weekly dispatch of documents. So when you receive the BT documents, Wednesday afternoon is the three of us, together with the director standards, screening each document, and of course we make a kind of quality check. If the document is clear, the decision is clear, and is correct, there is the correct reference to legislation to the vote, and then it is released during the weekly dispatch. So far we have never seen, since the decision was taken in July 2022, we have never seen any request for BT approval of a specific clause in an EN to open the door to national normative annex. So it means that this guidelines is working well. Okay, so let's imagine that the standard with this specific clause is approved in the technical committee. Then you need to seek for BT approval. Then in the periodic review, so in the 5 years lifetime of the standard, you have to pay attention whether that specific clause has to be reconfirmed or can be deleted, removed. Okay, I don't know if this rule was, if you were familiar with this rule. Yeah, it's a do not mix it with a deviation, special national condition, which are of course out of the scope. And are you were familiar with this? Who knew these guidelines, that there was a guidance on additional national elements? So this is available on BOSS. Okay. Good. Of course, all what for each decision you will find also the hyperlinks where you can access to the document that has been approved by the CEN and CENELEC BT. Then, please, Amanda, can you please use the microphone, because we are recording the session. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah, the national annex comes later, but you can only add it if in the EN there is room for a national normative annex. Okay, then is a decision for CEN and CENELEC. That's for in order not to cause too many confusion and to have new rules during the year, the CEN and CENELEC technical boards have required that new rules and processes should be implemented with a starting date either 1st of February or either 1st of October. Of course, if there is a specific urgency, then a different starting date can be fixed. So this is the reason why, for instance, the new CENELEC work item, the new CENELEC process for approving new work item is supposed to start on 1st February 2024. 1st February 2024 is also the date for the new process for the TS and TR, and also for approving new work item adopting ISO IC JTC1 standard and so on. So normally new processes should take place, should have a starting date 1st of October or 1st of February. Like, for instance, also the new process, innovative process for harmonized standard that I mentioned, that the due date was 1st of October 2023. Now, starting from 1st February 2024, the CENELEC Technical Board also decided to have an ad hoc procedure to start automatically the parallel revision for ISO IC JTC1 standards. You know that ISO IC JTC1 standard is the joint ISO and IC technical committee dealing with basically new technologies. You know that the new technologies have a very fast evolving environment, so it is important that we keep the pace of these technologies. The ISO IC JTC1 standard are exempted from parallel procedure as such, but the BT deemed important that for those ISO IC JTC1 standard already adopted in Europe as EN, it was important that in case of revision at ISO IC level, there should be a kind of fast-track procedure. So no more a BT approval. You know, JTC, when there is a new work item today, for CENELEC JTC, if there is a new work item, there is a joint approval of the CEN technical boards and the CENELEC technical boards for revision only from this specific JTC1, ISO IC JTC1. So for this specific body, this joint decision is no more necessary. Of course, sentence number 2, the BT wants to, in any case, let the possibility to the CENELEC JTC that adopt the ISO IC JTC1 standard not to follow the parallel procedure. So an exemption from parallel procedure can be requested by the relevant technical body, and this is to be applied from 1st February 2024. I guess that our colleague from JTC1 is very happy because ISO IC JTC1 is one of the main providers of standards for JTC 21. So if there is a revision of a standard that is already a EN ISO IC standard, then you can go ahead with the parallel procedure without the need to go to BT. Okay, and then the second decision for this kind of standard in case of new work. So we cover a revision of standards already adopted. Now we see what will happen for new work for ISO IC JTC1 standard. So BTs agreed to delegate to CENELEC JTCs from 1st February 24 all decisions concerning the approval of new work items that are adoptions of already published ISO IC JTC1 deliverables or to be developed in parallel with ISO IC JTC1 new projects. So if there is a new project and JTC is interested in this new project, the JTC secretary will not seek for further BT approval after the JTC decision that has to be taken following a 8-week consultation period. Of course, it is via CIB or CIB. Also, the BT decision specify what kind of how under which criteria this consultation could approve. So since here the decision refers to deliverable ISO IC JTC1 deliverables, then the ENs and TS will be approved via weighted vote. So you know that it is possible via CIB to indicate there is a specific flag to say yes, weighted vote, while simple majority for TRs, and this is exactly in line with the way CENELEC approves EN and TS at inquiry formal vote, so weighted vote, or TR at inquiry formal vote, which is, sorry, TR do not have inquiry, so the TR when it goes to the final vote, which is by simple majority. An element of attention is that the JTCs, so CENELEC JTCs, they have to inform CCMC when a vote is launched for such cases, because the BT members wants to be kept informed. De facto, this is a delegation of the approval right from CENELEC technical boards to the CENELEC JTCs, but is only for ISO IC JTC1 work. It is clear? Yes, good. Another novelty, we have, it was a discussion that lasted for, I would say, for some time. We have to found back in documents old, at least more than, please, yeah, sure.
Will the internal regulations then changed due to the new procedure of weighted vote for TRs and TS, or what? When will it happen? When will I see it in the internal regulations? So because we cannot follow all BT's decisions here, when can I see it, and when will I be published? It be published. Sorry.
So for this specific case, you will not see it in internal regulation. For the ISO IC JTC1. We have basically, with this decision, we have introduced, the technical boards have introduced a difference in the behavior of the JTC when approving new work items. And we can have these scenarios. Now I try to define all scenarios. And basically, there are 3 JTCs, CENELEC JTCs, dealing with the ISO IC JTC1. So I think it's 1321, and I think also quantum, because there is a quantum ISO IC JTC1 as a subcommittee on quantum. So we have 3 JTC dealing with ISO IC JTC1 standard. These 3 JTC, when dealing with ISO JTC1 standard, they will have this, I would say, fast-track procedure, so they can skip the approval from CENELEC technical bodies. But these same 3 JTCs, when working on new work items different from JTC1 standard, they will have to apply the normal procedure, so seeking for CENELEC technical board's approval. And then we have all the other JTCs who do not have anything to do with JTC1 standard, and so they will continue with the request for CEN and CENELEC technical boards to approve new work items. Next week in Vienna, we will go through the IR2, so it will be the final check for internal regulation part 2, and we can bring these comments, because in the current IR2 we say that CEN and CENELEC BTs approve JTC work items, while for this specific case we have an exception. So we will give a thought to it.
So homegrown standards will still have to have the BT approval. Yeah. Could you just explain, or I don't know if you have the possibility to explain a little bit about the motivation of this difference, why we have JTC1 projects not having the approval and homegrown standards still have to have the BT approval in JTC projects?
So we are little by little arriving to a full delegation from technical boards to the technical committees. Now, 1st February 2024, CENELEC new work items will be approved only once via new process, and so will not need any longer a BT approval. Then the next step will be for the CEN-CENELEC joint technical committees. And of course, members wanted to have in place the CENELEC new work item systems, because these de facto complement the already existing CEN projects online working area that is for the approval of CEN new work items, so that to have in place all weapons in order to basically let you work smoother, quicker. Now, the specific case of JTC1 came to the table because JTC1 develops very important standard, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and our members, BT members, highlight the need not to have a process putting Europe in a position to arrive late, so that the standard on these such important technologies, so it's very fast-moving technologies, we should try to go in parallel, and when the ISO IC JTC1 deliverables is ready, we in Europe we are ready. So, but the homegrown will come. It will be, let's say, the next Q1 or Q2 2024. We will discuss the general CEN-CENELEC delegation, from CEN-CENELEC technical boards to CEN-CENELEC JTC for all kind of standards. Of course, the decision on the revision was even more urgent, because we could have been in the situation that standard or readopt in Europe was at international level. There was a revised version, and we were still running late in adopting the standard. Okay. Okay. So for the IR2 comment, we will give a thought, because as I explained, now we have 3 different scenarios for CEN-CENELEC JTCs, and of course we want to be clear. So now to come back for the process for TS and TR, for CEN and CENELEC, or CEN and CENELEC JTC. So this applies to any technical bodies. Basically, we have so the technical boards decide to go for the concept of the flexible process for EN. So you, as TBO of a specific technical body, of course, together with the working group convener, together with your technical body, you will decide per each TS and TR the development time with without any time limit. It has been widely discussed at BTs. So if you think that to develop a TS you need 4 years, then you will indicate the number of weeks in the form or in CEN projects online working area, or in the future, and in the future, CENELEC online tool for the approval of new work item that should arrive on 1st February. So basically, you will need simply to fill this date. So you know that 3099 for TS and TR basically is the date of the vote. So here we'll have a starting date, of course, 1099, and 3099 is the number of weeks or the date that you will indicate in your document. So there is flexibility, wide flexibility to you. Of course, if that TS or TR is requested under a standard request, you need to ensure that this date is compliant with the date deadline in the standard request. If it is not connected, you are absolutely free. In case you forget, or in case you don't see the need to add a specific timeline here under 3099, then the default date that will be, that you will find in the system, and you will see basically on projects online, is 52 weeks. So basically it's 12 months, it's 1 year. 1 year used to be the previous time limit imposed by the system. Like for the flexible process, you can modify it once with a simple agreement of TB officers. So you don't need to take a PC decision. In coordination with the working group convener, you can change this deadline. So if you are CEN, you can use the one change option in projects online working area. In CENELEC, this is requested via email because, you know, there is not a similar way to modify the database. A tolerance is still possible. Also in this case, can be requested by TB officers in agreement with the working group convener. So there is no need for a TC decision. I think this is a novelty for CEN technical body officers, because normally you ask for a tolerance with a TC decision, while already now in CENELEC, tolerance can be requested via simple email of the secretary. But please, in projects online, always monitor the development of the work item so that you can respect the set deadline, because you can imagine now that you have the possibility to decide on this date, you become responsible to meet this date. You can decide, you can even modify, you can extend this deadline, so you become responsible. So the appointment for all of you. Okay, this is the time frame for TS as agreed by the technical boards. Basically, you have to pay attention to this part. This part depends on what you decide, and this is the real novelty. Same for TR. So this is the part that you decide. You will be able to include in the system. So we have a meeting, 18 January, online meeting in the morning. We will explain the CENELEC, how this new process will work in CENELEC, and we will combine with the new CENELEC work item tool approval. And then in the afternoon, we will have a session for CEN. So we will go in the details of this decision. Okay, can I, it is okay? You have any questions on these decisions? Please. Use the microphone.
Yes. Thank you. The fast track to update harmonized standards with the normative references. Is it also possible to update the Annex ZA or ZZ? Yes, and also only Annex ZA, ZX if there's no problem with the normative references?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Um,
With this decision, basically, it was already possible. So this decision has the fact extended and include the possibility to change the text of the homegrown standards, so the text itself. It was already possible to modify the Annex ZA 1 and 2, so the table of correspondence already with the previous decision that has been repealed and included here in this decision. So with this decision, you can update normative references and also Annex ZA. In CEN, you can update ZA. You know, in CENELEC, ZA is the normative reference when with AC, and ZZ is the table of correspondence for CENELEC between legislation and standards. I see two further questions, then 1 and 2.
Okay. This new innovative process that was already introduced yesterday by Nuno and described by you, is this somewhere specified in which document I can find the process described?
So indeed, the colleague of this new harmonized standards compliance team have almost finalized both the new text for BOSS, and should go quick soon. Should be on BOSS because basically this will impact your work in the next weeks. So
which document is this, in the internal regulations or somewhere? In which document particular?
So it will be development of EN and the part for the preparation of EN for citation in the official journal. You will receive in case an email with the link, the upper link. We will send an email to all technical body officers. Please.
Yeah, so this fast track procedure applies only to homegrown standards?
So basically, there was a gap for homegrown standards for the normative reference in homegrown standards, but then the standards that are adopting ES/UN or developed in parallel with the ISO and the IC, indeed, you can update the Z exactly, is the same, Z1 or Z2 for CEN and ZA and ZZ for CEN. Yes. So 2 minutes of break for CENELEC people, but do not leave the room. So Lorena would have liked to be here, and unfortunately she was here yesterday, but today is sick. So now we go on CEN only decision taken the last 2 years, and so for the 5-6 of you not present yesterday, this decision was presented by Joanna Frankowska when explaining the Vienna Agreement, and in particular the novelty of work items under Vienna Agreement with ISO-LEAD. I hope that you are already aware. So a CEN-TC decision is no longer needed for skipping the formal vote for all work items under ISO-LEAD if the inquiry results and, where applicable, HAS consultant assessment are positive and no technical changes are made before publication. So no CEN-TC decision, so this will allow to keep the parallel process with ISO. And also, in case ISO goes directly to FDs, so to the final vote, and no technical changes are made before publication. We know this is the case for ISO adoption format organization or minor revisions, and in all other cases where ISO goes to FDs, where in reality in CEN we vote at inquiry. So ISO can go directly to FDs, skipping the inquiry. We cannot skip the inquiry, we can skip formal vote. So basically CEN goes to inquiry. So you don't need any TC decision in case ISO goes directly to FDs, and if the inquiry results in CEN and where applicable HS consultant assessment are positive. I hope that you are familiar with this decision. So this should facilitate CEN-TC when working parallel with the ISO for projects under ISO lead. Okay, then something important for projects in for the revision of ISO standards adopted by CEN, but for which there is a CEN lead. So you know that the revision of ISO standard adopted by CEN are automatically registered in CEN database. So this is the only case where there is no need for a CEN-TC decision for the approval of a work item. So if there is a revision at ISO level of a standard, of an ISO standard already adopted by CEN, we create the work item by default. The problem is that if there is a CEN lead, so this is rare but can happen, then you need to use the format template to indicate the flexible time frame, so the dates, because it's a CEN lead. So CEN lead de facto falls under the flexible process, and therefore you have to take a decision only on these target dates. Here at these maybe I can open the it's a Word file, so somewhere should be. Yeah, let me see. Voila. Yeah. So this is the very simple decision that you need to take a decision number taken by subject target dates for revision of parallel project under CEN lead. And basically you need to add the dates 3099 and 4599. So I hope this is nothing really new. Okay. Then to avoid confusion, when CEN is about to adopt simultaneously a main ISO standard and its amendments, CEN-BT has decided that there shall be as many work items created as there are ISO documents, so one approach. Otherwise, then we lost the correspondence with ISO. Also, this decision applicable. No, this one is applicable from 1st of July 2023. Then, like it is in CENELEC practice, also CEN-BT agreed to extend the TC proofing period from 2 weeks to 4 weeks during the holiday period. It means that all proofing requests that are sent between 15 June and 15 August and between 1st and 31st December, so in this period, then there will be a period of 4 weeks to finalize the TC proofing. This is applicable from 15 June. So this, I hope, is a good news for you. So you will have more time during holiday period. And then we will not go into the details, but please be aware that we have two new guidance to be considered. So how to include climate change adaptation European infrastructure standards, and guidelines to accessible Word and PDF documents. So the second one is about accessibility. Okay, with this, I think I can give the floor to Mirna for the CENELEC only session.
Thank you, Alberto. So I will present to you what is new for CENELEC only TCs since 2022. So we have the super session information in CENELEC deliverables. Previously, on the title page of a standard, the super session information was a generic sentence. Well, now it has been agreed that the full string of the super session information, including the parser super session, will be added on the title page of CENELEC deliverables, provided, of course, that it is communicated by technical bodies. And a generic sentence will be added in the European forward of regarding the super session information. In order to have the correct data displayed on the title page, you are kindly reminded to provide the super session information to CCMC when circulating drafts for procedures. Here is an example, an extract from an EN. It's a homegrown EN, and here you see all string of superseding information. While in the same standard, in the European forward, there is this generic sentence saying that this document supersedes EN and another EN and all their amendments and corrigenda, if any. So it is not repeated in the forward anymore. Then handling of errors identified in CENELEC standards. Now, corrigenda can be issued for 3 cases. So in case of errors in the text of the published standard, for example, an error in the Annex ZA or an error in normative references, CCMC will issue a corrigendum upon request of the TC. No BT decision is required for that case. So only correcting errors in published standards regarding, for example, Annex ZA, normative references. In case of incorrect superseding information, or in case of incorrect DOP or DOW, so date of publication and date of withdrawal, a BT decision is needed to approve the change and to issue a corrigendum. When a BT decision is needed, please coordinate with your CCMC project manager who is in charge of your TC. Another topic is the development of harmonized elements in ENs within reporting secretariats. So as you know, reporting secretariats are technical bodies without any expert in there. Only one person from a member who handles the reporting secretariat, and reporting secretariats mainly are responsible for the parallel projects with IC. However, it may happen that some harmonization elements, for example, annexes ZZ or annexes ZA, are needed for a harmonized EN. In that case, a CENELEC member in charge of the SR, so the one holding the secretariat, can ask for another creation of a BTTF. So BTTF, BT Task Force, which is a short-term group in principle, can be used in that case to gather experts that will develop harmonized elements to an EN. And once the European elements have been published, so those are in principle published as annexes, amendments to ENIC standard, the deliverable is transferred to the SR for maintenance. So the responsibility of the EN or of the amendment will return to the SR. And for any issue, please refer to our team, Harmonized Standards Compliance team, and you have the email address also on the slides. Here is the first BT decision in that sense. So to create a BTTF specifically for development of European elements. Then regarding the calculation of implementation dates, BT agreed to set the calculation of the dates to base the calculation on DAV, so date of availability, instead of DOR, date of ratification, and to align the duration between the homegrown and parallel process. So from 1st of February, implementation dates will be calculated the same way for homegrown standards and parallel process, and they will be based on date of availability instead of date of ratification. And for DOA will be DAV plus 6 months, DOP, date of publication, will be plus 12 months, and DOW will be 36 months by default. Another novelty for CENELEC is the new work items approval voting tool that will be implemented in February. So we are still working on the development of the tool. Some testing phases were done, and now we are busy improving the tool to implement all comments received. So it means that the new work items will be approved via a tool, and we will not need to go to BT for the new work item approval anymore. In the new work item voting tool, weighted vote will be applied for the approval of new work items intended to become EN, TSs, and HD harmonization documents. And simple majority will be applied for TRs, as it is the case in IR2 in the rules. And there is a webinar on 18 January to explain you how to use the tool. And that was it for the CENELEC novelties. If you have questions, yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. So for the new work item proposals approval, it still needs to be done using the tool, or can the plenary make a decision at TC plenary?
No, when the tool will be active, all new work items will need to go to within the tool. New work items will no longer be approved at plenary meetings, but only via the tool, because they will be voted upon.
Can that be activated by subcommittee as well, or do I need approval of the parent committee as well?
So the new system for CENELEC will work in the following way. So there will be an online tool where the TC secretary will be able to insert all data in this online tool. Then this data will be transferred to the CCM CPM for double check, but via the system. So basically the CENELEC TS secretary will just to confirm the sending. The CCM CPM will validate data, will double check that data are correct. And then once validated by CCM CPM, this a balloting will be created in the e-voting tool. So basically will be similar to the way you approve the ENET inquiry and formal vote. And so there, those having the right for voters will be able to approve the new work item tool, will be weighted vote for EN and TS and HD, and instead it will be voted via simple majority for TRs. So it's to the CENELEC TS secretary to use the tool. Now, I hesitate whether to mention this. Yesterday we received an email from IC. So you know that when we develop new tools in CEN, it's basically the ISO IT team providing tools because we are connected with ISO. When we develop tools in CENELEC, it is IC. In this particular case, since the ballot will be created in the e-voting tool, this is managed by IC. So unfortunately, due to the unavailability of an IT person, we may have a delay. So now we are deciding what to do in terms of communication to CENELEC TS, whether we start all these 1st February 2024 or we need to start 1st March 2024. This would be unfortunate because for CENELEC, we combine the explanation of the new CENELEC work item approval tool with the novelty of the process for TS and TR. Because of course, this tool can be used also for TS and TR. So there will be an online tool where the CENELEC TS secretary will select TS or TR, and of course, we'll add the time frame as explained to 3099, which is the due vote for TS and TR, and of course we want to present everything together. Now we have to give a thought on how to present this, because also we fix also for CEN, TS and TR to be presented together with CENELEC and starting 1st February 2024, because actually there was a delay in the CEN projects online working area. So 1st February 2024 was a perfect date to combine all these elements. Now we'll give a thought on how to do it, and of course you will receive, you will be informed accordingly. So we are sorry for this, but this does not depend on CCMC, but it is an IC, I would say, unexpected unavailability. Okay, now I think we are quite on time. So 10:20, we should finish 10:20 and then start the Q&A session. No, so we can take questions.
Yeah. Yes, can I ask? Yes, with the microphone. For CEN in Vienna agreement, the new work item is made automatically when the work item is approved, but that does not apply to preliminary work items. Is that correct?
You mean for the creation of prime work item?
Yes, in the system, in the CEN system, when it's registered in the ISO system, the work item is in the SEN system, but before that, there could be a preliminary work item on ISO level. But
So this is not registered. The premium work item at ISO level is not registered
at SEN level.
at SEN level. But we go for in case of revisions, there is
Yeah, for a revision.
okay,
I
for
mean.
revision. Okay,
Yes.
sorry, you
Yeah,
didn't.
sorry,
Okay,
for the
okay.
revision. Yes.
Yes. So in my knowledge does not apply to premium work item, but I prefer to double check and come back to you
Oh, thanks.
with a clear answer. Other questions? Since we have still 1 minute, we can even give you a longer coffee break, which I just want to show you in the CENELEC website, just a novelty that has been introduced by our communication team. So else it is here. If you go in events, so it's the main website, CENELEC, news and events, and you go in past events, you have the possibility to see all the training that we gave for mandated work. So all we do for, let's say, facilitating compliance with the legislation, and can be horizontal. For instance, this is the workshop on when the task force that I mentioned before with the European Commission has closed its work, the innovative process for homegrown harmonized standards. And then this can be also sectorial. So you can find also measure, for instance, you can find the CPR. And in each of these, for each of these training, you will be able to access the presentation, the recording. So do not hesitate to navigate, because you may find elements of your interest. Then maybe we can close and let you have the coffee break. If you go on the CEN or CENELEC boss, and then to respond to the question of our colleague, if you go on a European standard, then there is a part that is devoted to drafting European standards for citation in the field journal. You see, it's under revision. So the new innovative process should be there. Now, once we agree with the ISO and IC for a new process for harmonized standards, a new section will be created, and the same for CENELEC, for the CENELEC POS.